I'd like to welcome everyone to Commissioners Court. We appreciate you being with us this morning. As our custom, we have Brother Eric Graham with us to lead us in our invocation. And Commissioner McCam, the pledges, please.
Lord, we are thankful for your goodness as we enter into this month in which we have Thanksgiving Day. Lord, I pray that we would give thanks every day. We are truly blessed. We live in the greatest state, and I believe the greatest county. And I thank you for the great public servants you put in our place. Lord, I pray that you just continue to give them great wisdom and guide them. Thank you for our peace officers. Pray that you continue to bless them and give them protection. Again, just thank you, Lord, for the way of life that we get to enjoy here in this county. Pray that you just continue to pour out your blessings on us, and we'll continue to give you thanks. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Brother Graham, thank you, sir, as always. Well, again, good morning. Remind everyone, please silence your phones and any conversations you need to have. Please take them outside. The time is 9:02. We do have a quorum, so we will call this meeting of Commissioners Court to order. We have citizens' comments. I know we have one. Do we have any other citizens' comments? All right, the one that has submitted this morning is Mayor Dennis Shelby with the City of Berryville. He's wishing to speak prior to our meeting. So please, if you would, come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record, and then we'll give you 3 minutes.
My name is Dennis Shelby. I live at 11224 Greenbrier Boulevard, Berryville. I am the mayor of the City of Berryville. Good morning, Judge, Commissioner. I appreciate the opportunity to address the court concerning 2 contracts on the agenda today: the Rural Fire Protection and the Fire Chiefs Association. My concern is the contracts are not clear at several levels. They're overlapping in specifics and definition of terms, and there is not a clear understanding of what criteria is used to determine levels of compensation, and the reporting seems to be compilations of several systems. The current contracts have been rejected by approximately 20 departments. I'm not sure these would be better received. The approach with this new contract seems to be a take it or leave it, no negotiation. There are requirements being placed in the rural protection contracts that I believe only 2 departments can currently meet. I understand the desire to provide the best protection to our citizens, but I also understand the reality of resources and money and personnel. I expressed my concerns to Commissioner Richardson, and to his credit, he arranged a meeting with myself, himself, the fire chief, of the association president, Brandon Irby, and Fire Marshal Mitchell Pate. The meeting took place last night, and in reviewing the contracts, it became pretty clear to me that he's being treated more as a general framework and may be understood by some of the parties, but not to an outsider such as myself. So there are a lot of things not clear. For example, both contracts refer to providing rural fire protection and emergency services. When I asked about emergency services, he said it was apparently a general understanding of those meetings. Emergency services was not intended to be part of this. They were addressed by another contract that would be under ambulance services. There are also several references to performance measures, yet there does not be a clear definition of those measures, but more of a general understanding. There's not to be any references to established processes or procedures that are documented and the departments of associations are being held accountable to. Overall, I would refer to these documents more as a memorandum of understanding than I would a contract. On the plus side, I was very encouraged by the participation of Fire Marshal Pate and Chief Irby. They were very open in their communications and expressed their willingness to listen and consider my concerns. And I look forward to continuing communication with all the parties involved. In closing, I believe the Commissioners Court should establish a more clear vision of the future of these programs and provide transparency to its citizens on the ultimate end game. I can understand the desire for the court to transfer these duties to other personnel, but responsibilities clearly stay with the court. You are the elected officials. Having said that, I believe all of those involved are committed to making the system better, and that this was just the beginning of a better understanding of what citizens want and need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby. Next item on the agenda is court announcements, and we do have some announcements this morning. Commissioner Spivey, I believe this pertains to you.
Yes, I have Clay Forster that's wanted to come and present an award.
Judge Commissioners, thank you for having me today. My name is Clay Forster. I come to you from Kendall County, little ways from here. I'm also the Secretary Treasurer of the Texas Association for County Engineers and Road Administrators, also known as TESERA, an organization really for road employees and county engineers, by road employees and county engineers. Each year we have an annual conference, and leading up to that we accept nominations for a TESERA County Engineer of the Year or Road Administrator of the Year, and also for a Road Employee of the Year. This year, for our Road Employee of the Year, we received 5 nominations, and it is my pleasure to announce this year's winner was nominated by Commissioner Wendy Spivey, and it is Mr. Joe Martinez.
Fantastic. Commissioner?
I was going to thank Joe, and it's his retirement, and my crew and team came to get a picture with him if that's possible.
You bet. You bet.
Y'all
Mr.
want-
Martinez? So that those that don't know you as well as we do, how many years did you serve?
Been over 27. It's an honor for me to be here today. I think everybody put up with me 27 some years. I can officially say that, guys, some of you didn't show up, but for the last day that I was here, I can officially tell you guys that I'm retired. And thank you for everything. I know I'm not coming back.
You're not going to be like Jackie?
Maybe may the Lord bless every one of you.
Well, we appreciate you, Joe, very, very much. Thank you for your service.
Okay, ready? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Joe.
Get him, Joe.
Who said that,
Don't
Gary?
get him off.
Gary, he'll be back, won't he?
Good to see you, Gary. Y'all be good. All right. Moving on to item 1, which is consider and take action on minutes of previously held meeting of Commissioners Court on October 28th, 2025. Court, are there any additions, deletions, or comments?
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the Commissioner Court minutes for regular session October the 28th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the minutes of October 28th, 2025 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item number 2 is consider and take action to apply for fiscal year 2026 SB 22 funds. Ms. Vaughn.
Good morning, Court. This is for us to apply for the Rural Law Enforcement Grant, also known as SB 22. It's financial assistance to the Sheriff's Department's Constable's Office, District and County Attorney's offices to ensure professional law enforcement and legal representation of the people's interests throughout the state. We're awarded last year $1,050,000. We enhanced the salaries for the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney, and the County Attorney.
This was made available by the legislature, funding to counties. This is our second or third time to be applied? Third time to apply for it. Court, questions?
How much is the grant and for Henderson County? Do you know?
$1,050,000.
One
And
million.
Sheriff's Office gets $500,000 and $275,000 apiece for the district attorney and the county attorney.
Any other questions? But in this, county judge authorized for anything, or is this just to apply?
Just to apply.
Gotcha. All right. Any other questions, court? Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to apply for the fiscal year 2026 SB 22 funds.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam and second by Commissioner Richardson to approve to apply for the fiscal year 2026, fiscal year 2026 SB 22 funds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you, ma'am. Item number 3 is consider and take action on Henderson County 2025 court order pertaining to public information requests pursuant to Chapter 552 of the Texas Government Code. Mr. Strong.
Good morning, Court.
Morning.
Before you is an order due to a recent law change that took effect on 9/1 of this year. The new rule was that the county, the Commissioners Court, shall designate a mailing address and an electronic address and email, and also any other means in which government records or open record requests are facilitated. As this court may remember, a few years ago, this court entered into a contract with a private entity called GovQA, and what they do is they provide services to counties and governmental entities like states and cities, where they help facilitate open records, and that was done due to the sheer number of open records requests that have increased over the years. And so this court entered into that contract. On 9/1, the law says that we now need to designate how we're doing that, and we have to let the Attorney General know of the state of Texas that we're doing that. So that's what this order does before you. It designates the county attorney's office as the single mailing address for the county for open records. And that's in agreement with what's already been done with the GovQA portal. And then it also designates the GovQA portal as the open records center for the county. We already have a website, and that's already been happening for several years. And then we have an email address as well. And so this is just getting in compliance with this new statute and basically doing what we've already been doing as a county. So.
Court, questions?
So they can go to the Henderson County Attorney at gov.qa.us and do that was where they would open up a open records request, or they go straight to your office?
That email is actually going to take them to our portal that the county has. If they want, they're already online, they could use the portal. If they want, they could mail it in. I don't know if they want to do that, but that would be their option as well. But they can use the portal at that point. And these are typically referred to as freedom of information requests, open record requests, public information requests. Right now, the Henderson County Attorney's Office is handling about 20 of these a week. So quite a bit of them. Using the GovQA portal has been tremendously helpful in how these are facilitated. So we really appreciate having that service, and this just memorializes that.
Court, questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve with all necessary signatures.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the Henderson County 2025 court order pertaining to public information requests pursuant to Chapter 552 of the Texas Government Code with all necessary signatures. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thanks, sir. Item number 4, consider and take action on rural fire protection contract agreement and authorize county judge to execute agreement with fire departments receiving county funds. Mr. Strong.
Good morning again. Before
You is the proposed 2026 rural fire protection contract. This has really been a work in progress due to conversations that were had before this court last year and the year before that, and then also through workshops this year. It also included conversations with our auditor's office, our fire marshal's office, our emergency management office, and different participants that have been part of these contracts in the past. So it really is a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts went into this. The idea behind this proposed contract is just making sure that the county has appropriate taxpayer management, making sure that the county is protecting taxpayer funds. So what this new contract does is, if you all give an amount to a fire department, that amount would be not to exceed that amount, so that would be the amount capped. It doesn't mean that fire department would receive that amount without performing certain criteria. And that would be divided up into 4 quarters. So every quarter, if the fire department meets those performance criteria, then the allotment of money would be divided into 4 and a payment would be made to that fire department. So this is the idea through many people where the county would just have better oversight, better management of these funds. And that's really, a lot of people worked on this. So I really want to thank the court for your effort, Anne Marie and her office, and our new fire marshal, Mitch. He's been tremendous as well. And then Shane Rimberg as well for emergency management.
Before we bring Fire Marshal up to add more information to it, any questions for Mr. Strong at this time? All right. Fire Marshal Pate, please.
Yes, sir.
Spoke a lot about this.
If you would, as mentioned previously, there's been a lot of effort put forth in this and a lot of thought and time. Would you share your thoughts with the court on this?
So, I've been involved obviously in the fire departments in the county since 2019, so I've got to see a lot of the kind of how everything works in the backside of things, and then coming into this position gives me a unique outlook on it. So previously we've offered basically divided up the funds that the county has to help support those fire departments kind of equally amongst 19 or 20 different fire departments. As Mr. Strong said, those fire departments are required to report back to the county to give the information so that we can allot for the money that is distributed out to those departments. We've struggled a lot trying to get that basic information. Over time, we've met with the Chiefs Association and had discussions with several of the fire departments, and a lot of them just, I guess, aren't able to provide some of the information. Due to that purpose, because we have less departments willing to be involved in the contract, we're kind of narrowing it down to less fire departments, which means that we have to ensure that we get those areas covered. So we're adding to that contract that we have at least 2 firemen that are available from the fire station to respond to the emergency calls from dispatch. So that lessens that response time because they're leaving directly from the fire department, from the fire station, and then responding to those calls. And that's kind of what we've added in this contract that we proposed.
Court?
And how many fire departments do we have that have 2 available at all times?
As of January 1st, 2026, we'll have 4 that will meet the needs of the county as far as their neighboring outside of their own district or within their own district would cover the rural fire areas. So there's 4 that could be considered for that.
And what 4 of those?
That would be the Trinidad Fire Department, which as of January 1st, I have confirmed that they would have that availability, that's something that they've already put in place. You have the Law Cove fire department or the county response, which is their nonprofit side of their department. You have the Gun Barrel City Fire Department, and you have District 8 Fire Department. If you wanted to include Athens, Athens has that ability as well, but it's not one that's been considered for this particular contract.
And the purpose of this, since these four are not, this is not a primary coverage other than their designated areas, is that correct? This is a second call so that we have, no matter what the circumstances are, can you go into that?
So the goal would be in those rural areas that are outside of a municipality, either an ESD or a city, those areas that we're basically responsible for covering, they would be kind of looped into dispatch. We're the original department, so if there is a fire department that may be considered closer, that is a full volunteer department, that maybe just has dedicated volunteers that work during the day and may be possibly available at night, with dispatch, we would work with them to try to overlay so that particular fire department that's close to that area would be toned out initially, as well as the contracted fire department with the county would be toned out at the same time. So that would ensure that we're having someone responding to that call as soon as possible.
Well, my only question would be, we've got 3 over in the western part of the county, and all 3 of those are in the northwestern part. Are they gonna be able to service the southwestern part in a timely fashion? And then when you move over to the eastern part of the county, we only have one at District 8. And and I know in western part of the county, most of the population is up where all 3 of those are. But there's still lots of people live in the southern part of the county. And then over in the eastern part of the county, the population is, around the lakes. And is District 8 gonna be able to cover those areas from Marcus? Or do they have more stations that are manned, that are closer to those areas?
So with discussions with District 8 and to try to accomplish that goal, I believe that they are able to maybe shift or move to a different station of maybe closer to those areas to help compensate for that time difference.
So is there a manned station in District 8 that's closer to the lake than Marcusson?
That's a
Corner.
We have
So the corner?
the District 8 chief and association president. Mr. Irby, if you would come up, please, sir.
Judge, do you have a map of just what the rural areas are that's not covered by ESD that we're responsible for?
I do. I'll get it pulled up here.
And my question, because everybody knows, District 8 is mainly the Marcusson, but I know that they've contracted out with LaPointe and LaRue. Do we have a station that's closer to that area on the lake than Marcusson is, that is
Yes,
manned?
we're putting 2 people in the corner station.
Okay.
Under
So the corner station will be
ESD
manned
contract.
also?
Yes, sir.
And for the public, you have Chandler on the north end.
You got Chandler,
West
Brownsboro, West Side, Coffee City, and Berryville.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the rest of the east side is our area.
And in this contract, the ESD assigned to that area, or the fire department, excuse me, the fire department is assigned to that area will get the first call,
Yes, sir.
and then these manned departments will automatically be called as a backup.
Yes, sir. On any fire.
On every fire or emergency call.
Any fire.
Okay.
Of course, that
And that'll be done through dispatch.
Yeah, we'll have to overlay the map with 911, just segregate those areas, and then when dispatch pages a fire, the primary response area will be paged out, and then the secondary response area, secondary fire department will be paged out also.
And then if it's something that the primary can handle, they'll just call back
They'll
to,
disregard that secondary, or,
Will be
if nobody
canceled.
responding or whatever, then that secondary department will get on scene and take care of the issue or call for more mutual aid.
Other questions,
Yeah.
discussion?
I just have discussion, and I think maybe it will pertain to whichever one y'all want to answer this, but some of the stuff that I've heard is that we're putting more, the court's putting more responsibility on the fire departments of reporting and that kind of stuff. And the court's been through a lot of workshops on this contract in my 7 years that I've been on here, and to me, I just want the public to know that we're not asking for any more than what really by law that the fire departments are already supposed to be doing. And so the documentation and the reporting. So we're responsible as a court for taxpayer money, and ESD money is taxpayer money. But fire departments, and I don't think it includes the ESDs, but that, I can't say these things right, Texfers, Ninfras, and Neris, all those things are already supposed to be, departments are supposed to be reporting that. Is that right, Fire Marshal?
Correct.
And because those three reporting agencies is what they may get their,
Grants.
their forestry service grants, or state grants, or state money, or different things like that. So that stuff should already be doing. And then their ESDs or their audits. So all that stuff all goes together. And so we're not requiring any more than what they are already supposed to be doing. Is that correct?
Correct. Well, the one thing that we're requiring that's outside of that would be the report on our fire marshal's website, which is just them reporting those calls that were responded to outside of their original district, which is in the rural area, which is our side of it, just to kind of separate so that we can keep statistics on that.
And isn't there a way through, I know one of these reporting agencies, but I don't know if it's all three, that once they put that in there, they could export that out and send it to your email. Does that suffice enough for your office?
Well,
And this contract?
that does get a little more complicated on that end, but it's not on a department level. It would be for me, because I could go through the system and print out every call that was responded to in Henderson County and go through and figure out which ones are outside of their already designated response area and which ones are the rural fire protection area. So that's all they're doing, is reporting to us the ones that are outside of their normal response area or their first call area, and then reporting to us the ones that are in our rural.
And you're not talking about mutual aid responses, you're
Correct.
talking
Yes,
about.
It's just the ones that they're
Second bell?
first. It's just their first call out. So if that fire department was called out to an area that's considered one of our rural areas, they just report that call, if they were the first call. And if they're mutual aiding that department, another department into that area, then we don't need that data on that form, just if they were the first call in. It just helps us figure out how many calls are in those areas, and it kind of separates, so we can keep those numbers.
Because they're doing because sometimes you see gaps, or I've seen the reports that we've gotten as a court of that there's gaps. They may do it in March and April, and then when they're in the busy season, June, July, and August, they're not reporting, and all of a sudden you see their reports again for October, November, and December. But shouldn't those departments be doing that every time they come back in? From a call?
So when we went to the new paging system, new CAD, system 2 years ago, when we worked the contract with them, we told them as a Fire Chiefs Association that they had to report the calls that were reported to NIMFers by the 11th of the following month. And their response, the company's response to us was, well, we'll do that, but the calls have to be completed. Well, we haven't put a report in NIMFers since February of this year, because no department has, because they're not complete. So if there's a department that has completed their reports in the system, they still haven't been entered because the whole county hasn't completed their reports. So the departments that are completing their reports every month to go into NIMFers are not getting put in because there's other departments that aren't putting their reports in. So the whole batch isn't completed, so they can't batch it to NIMFers. And then as of November the 1st, we went to Nearest, which is the new program, and that works completely different. It's really up to the department, not association-wise, to get those reports in. So as soon as you put a report in, it automatically goes to Nearest instantly. And with us having a link with the CAD, it automatically sends that report to Nearest that says, hey, this is an open call. And then you have to complete your report. So now it's as of November 1st, it's going to be up to the individual department to do their report. If they don't do the report, then it's on them now. It's not backed up to making sure everybody does a report so it gets put in. It's only going to be a department, each individual department. So if you don't do your report, it's on you, it doesn't affect everyone.
The association.
Right. And which is a good thing, because if we're doing our reports and somebody else isn't doing their reports, then our reports weren't getting put in anyway. So we were having to go back and export all that data and send it to NIMFers.
If you would, repeat why these reports are important outside of the county.
I mean, that's a lot of your criteria for your FEMA grants, your federal grants, state grants. I mean, that's how the state fire marshal's office gets their statistics. That's how the federal government gets their statistics on what calls you're running, what type of calls, how many of them you're running, all that kind of good stuff. And that's why they went from NIMFers to Nearest. NIMFers was a very outdated system. It didn't really give a lot of information, and Nearest is very to the point. I mean, very in-depth of what type of call you're running, how many people are on it, what you did, what you used. So they can take that data and put it back in to help you get a FEMA grant or a state grant.
Because you can socialize them out, that you went to a mobile home.
Right.
There were 6 people there.
Yeah, I mean, it's down to single-family dwellings, what type of building construction. I mean, it's very, very in-depth now with Nearest, where it wasn't that in-depth with NIMFers. And NIMFers and Texas is kind of the same thing. If you reported to NIMFers, it went in the Texas system. And now Nearest is a completely new system.
So is it reporting back to Tex?
You still have to do your Texas Forestry Service reports.
Well,
On wildfires.
you know, and I'm gonna say this, I appreciate everything, and I think the court does too, of all our fire departments that take away from their family and their volunteer time, and we understand that they're volunteers, but they chose to be a volunteer fireman. For whatever reason that might be. But there is, when you volunteer, there are other policies and procedures that has to be done, and either a chief or the assistant chief or whoever has got to be responsible to have somebody to put these reports in to help them. Because, some people out there, I can say that, I'm gonna say they pay $16 in ESD money, but when they have a fire, $1 million truck engine shows up to the deal, and that don't include just a mere 1,000, 1,500 gallons, right? And then you gotta have a tanker that shows up, it's $500,000. So I just don't, those people have just got to know that, those volunteers have got to know that we have to have this, and we're not asking, the court's not gonna ask more than what they already should be reporting. So thank you for what you do, and Fire Marshal, thank you for what you do, and all the volunteers out there for our fire departments.
I just want to say the judge has got the map up of all the area of the county we see that's in color is represented by emergency service district. So that means that we have no, the only thing we're required is the stuff that is not colored in, and there's some of that that's not colored in that's in city limits, like the city limits of Athens and Malakoff there. So that, those are city-owned fire departments that does not have ESD. So it says that we're supposed to protect the rural fire. I know all that down in the lower south, a lot of it up in the north and stuff there is rural area, but it is covered by ESDs. And the county's not responsible for any of that coverage in there. The ESD is. They're the taxing entity that covers those areas that contracts with the fire departments. So really the only ones that we're responsible for is over on the east side there and up in the far northwest area up there. And there's a little bit right in there, I guess, is that, that's where the long cover area is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right
That'd
in
be
that
their
area.
coverage area.
So, just for that, there's very little area in there that the county has to cover compared to what's all in ESD right now that we're responsible for. And that's what we're trying to do is get somebody to cover those areas right there. And so giving money to every fire department to cover what's already inside their ESD, we're trying to get covered what's not in the ESD.
That in of itself, historically, and the way we have done it, has been once a year, here's your money, here's your money, here's your money, with a few requirements. There has been no guarantees upon service. And what this does is it guarantees service. Because as you say, we have volunteer organizations that take from their lives to provide this service for nothing. But life is getting more complicated. Time availability, there's been several news articles about individuals unable now or unwilling to volunteer. And it is a transition now with our population density, everything that we have going on now, that we are now focusing on the unincorporated areas. When I say, I should use a different term, excuse me, areas not currently covered by either municipality or ESD as our primary. But as we are doing this, because of the volunteer situation, building this program to be able to subsidize fire coverage in these other areas, because you have equipment limitations and you have manpower limitations. This ensures, is the intent, is that on every fire, manpower and equipment will not be an issue. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir. No matter where you live in the county, somebody's gonna be there to respond.
We had a fire chiefs meeting last Tuesday night. It was a 2-hour discussion over contracts. We read the original contract that we had in 25, added the few things that we added. And then we read the contract that is presented. And, you know, it was more towards, it was the original everybody wanted the original contract because everybody still wants that money. But at the end of the day, they didn't like the stipulations that were on the contract. So when it was all said and done, after 2 hours of discussion, it was voted to bring the old contract back to y'all and say, hey, this is the contract that we want. Well, we gave that contract for 15 years, or I mean, longer than that
Longer than
probably.
that.
And then we all sat there and said, guys, you know, we're continuing to bring the same contract back, and we ask for the same contract every year, but we don't do what we're supposed to do. Well, let's have another chance. Let's get another chance. But at the end of the day, we still don't have the coverage that we need. The whole purpose of this is to make sure there's a truck of people show up on a fire. And we all in that whole association realize that that's what the whole purpose is. But volunteerism's going by the wayside. I mean, people, lives are busy, we all get that. So there's not really a fine answer with the Fire Chiefs Association of which direction do we go. You know, they want the money, but we don't want to do what we're supposed to do to get the money. So what's the answer? And that's how it was left, you know, what's the answer? Well, they're voting on it next Tuesday. Well, I agree, I understand that. But there's nothing we can, you know, you can't change it. But we have to change it, and that's where it was left. You know, there's ESDs that don't understand, you know, what the situation is. Well, the contract's not with the ESD, the contract's with the contracted provider to the ESD, which is the fire department. You know, and some of them are, well, we don't even need that money. You know, why are we gonna do this? It's gonna take us 50 hours to get all this paperwork done. It's not worth the, you know, $10,000 to $14,000, whatever we receive from the county to do that. And then some are like, well, we depend upon that every year. I understand, but if you can't make the call, then we're paying for something that we're not getting. So.
And with the aggregation of the funds into less areas, it better incentivizes and helps these fire departments meet the criteria of the contract.
I know y'all put a lot of time in this, and it's time for a change because nothing's been working the way we've been doing it. So thank y'all for all the time you put into this. I hope it works.
One of the questions that the mayor there at Berryville had, you know, we do have this provide rural fire protection and emergency services.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that last night. Is all we're responsible for is rural fire protection? Why is the emergency services in there?
The
Can you explain that?
the emergency services was added to it years ago and kept in there so that, as in conformance with FEMA, that we would be under contract if we got the information from them and allowed for us getting the information to go for FEMA recovery.
Like in a disaster, not a
in
fire.
disasters. I mean, that, when it said that is a placeholder in there at the time it was put in, that is correct. Since then, there has been evolution of FEMA rules and FEMA guidelines, of which that future MOUs will be forthcoming with those to assist with that. That's part of the reason why the reporting is so important, is because then we have hard data to be able to take and go to FEMA with all the stuff that we would have, and then get reimbursement that could be given back to those fire departments. The hours that they put in is a huge part of any disaster recovery, and we've never been able to collect that information to be able to use as a part of our filings. And this would be one step in that direction as well. That's why the reporting is so important. Not to mention the state requires it. Further discussion? Comments?
Does the Fire Chiefs Association ask or all the departments for their, like, what equipment's functioning, what equipment's not, if equipment can still roll?
We ask for an updated list once a year. We should probably update it maybe once a quarter, but we do get a list once a year of equipment, specialized teams, all that kind of good stuff. And we forward it to the fire marshal's office, and then we keep a record of it also.
And then does the department, do they go through any kind of criteria, like I'd say an audit, to have their engines checked, their pumpers checked, and brush trucks checked, and all that kind of stuff?
They do not. We offer a pump test. We schedule pump testing once a year for, you know, any pump that's over 500 GPMs. We schedule a pump test. I mean, it's up to the department to pay for it, but we get it all arranged and scheduled We've got them scheduled for January of this coming up year, as a Fire Chiefs Association. So that kind of puts everybody together, so we know at least engines and things of anything over 500 GPM being tested once a year. But that's really the only requirement that we ask.
And do they all follow that procedure?
Most.
And then those areas that are rural fire protection that are not colored in there, omitting Athens and the Malakoff area and maybe some Long Cove that's not in there, Berryville, Coffee City. These departments will be the primary. They will be the primary.
Primary call. The intent and hope is that primary call, secondary call, to guarantee the coverage.
And we still have a 7 points fire department also. Do we
Let
have
me give an
7?
update on the 7 points.
Who are all fire departments now? I think,
Trinidad, 7 points are in the merger stage. I mean, they're not completely merged yet. To go back to the rural fire deal on the areas, if you, right there in the top, that's 7 points' area. So that area will be covered by Trinidad, so that would be their primary response anyway. If you go down the Long Cove, Old Log Cabin, Canyon City area, all that county coverage area is already being covered by Long Cove. So that would be their primary area already. That little area on that side of 31 is covered by Trinidad right now, and that's good. I think that's continuing the way that we looked at it. If you go over to the Coffee City Berryville area, so that's going to be the only really change. That whatever color that is, purple. That is the old Moore Station county coverage area. That is covered by District 8 right now. So that would be our primary coverage area already. The Berryville coverage area, the primary, even if this contract went in place, the primary would still be Berryville. Berryville would still be primary county coverage on that. But if they caught something, if they caught a fire in that area, then we would respond to that area by the way the contract's going. And then the same thing with Coffee City. Right now, if Coffee City caught a fire, they would be primary, and then we would be secondary to come in. And then if they caught a fire and it was a little grass fire or something, or a burn barrel, they could cancel us before they got there. So really, the only big difference in primaries and secondaries is going to be on the east end of the county, because the west end of the county, they're already in. Trinidad's already in merger talks with 7 points, so that's already working. Long Cove's already covering the county coverage area of Old Log Cabin in Canyon City. And I think they're trying to finish up their Canyon City merger thing. So that's going to be your only really primary. Secondary is going to be on rural fire protection is going to be over right there against the lake. And also it's the way that if they go with this contract, in essence, it's just helping any department, not only rural fire protection, but in ESD. If there's an ESD that doesn't have somebody during the day or whatever, you're gonna have a truck and 2 people responding, no matter what.
We've tried everything else.
In that two-person truck, will they be rolling an engine and a tanker? Or would they just be rolling an engine hoping that somebody shows up with more water?
Those are
That's a
operational.
loaded question.
Those will be operational based upon.
It'll be operational based, yeah.
Okay.
I would hope that when somebody calls it in, that they can give enough information that they know what they need to take. But we know some people make a molehill into a mountain, and vice versa. You never know what's gonna happen. So, a lot of times you'll show up and, same thing on the county, we'll get a call, sometime there's a tree in the road and it's a limb. You know, we send a backhoe after it, when we get there, you can drag it out by your hand, so.
How big is that?
And it does, this contract does not interfere with what has historically been, quote, called state mutual aid, which all departments being called, and if they are a part of the program of which they receive grants and so forth, they're required to be capable of responding. Anything further?
Well, my thoughts on it is the fire departments that are not covered by an ESD, and they are a first responder to their area, if they do have rural fire protection in their fire district, that we ought to give them a little something. And then we'll give the ones that have the 24/7 in there that's gonna help protect them, or any of the other ESDs, if they do have the 24/7 on call, then we'll give them money also.
I think what the concern is by, if you do that, then we only have a set amount of funds.
Yeah.
And what is proposed under this is a funding of 4 departments. And if you reduce those payments down, it may make it less feasible for them to be able to man stations. That was why the whole point of it was, how can the money be spent to ensure fire coverage?
Yeah.
We know that those smaller ones that would not be able to be a part of the contract would not have the county funding, but we have met our responsibilities by enacting this, by funding the 4 who are guaranteed to respond. And then we understand that it's going to be more difficult, but quite honestly, we had, 4 or 5 that wouldn't even put in a contract last year?
Yeah.
You know, so we understand their hardships, but our responsibility is fire coverage overall. And to meet that by going with 4, it incentivized them enough, the funding was large enough to incentivize them. And we've only got this pool of money for this year, for 2026. If y'all want to speak to that?
I would agree with that.
Well,
For sure.
the responsibility of the county is to guarantee coverage.
Right.
And if they don't sign the contract, the 3 or 4 that didn't turn them in last year, then we cannot guarantee it. Because we don't have a contract saying that it's guaranteed.
Right.
With these 4 fire departments, we'll have a contract and it'll be guaranteed.
Yeah. Further discussion? Gentlemen, thank you. If there's no further discussion, entertain a motion with the county judge's authorization to sign.
So move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the rural fire protection contract agreement and authorize county judge to execute agreements with fire departments receiving county funds. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. One more, item 5, consider and take action on contract contract agreement between Henderson County and the Henderson County Fire Chief Association. Mr. Strong.
Court, before you is an agreement that is basically similar to the agreement in years past where the county works with the Fire Chiefs Association, the local Fire Chiefs Association. The county doesn't have the resources to train firefighters, to provide facilities to firefighters. I, as attorney, yearly I need training for legal updates, and so I'm able to go to the State Bar of Texas. I can go to the local Henderson County Bar Association. There's also an association called the Texas District and County Attorney Association, and they provide me training. That's something that the county really I couldn't take a class with Commissioner Richardson for him to learn all these laws and give me legal training, just like we can't meet with these fire departments. And so it's really important to have a liaison that can act on behalf of the county or act with the county to help provide training and facilities that the county otherwise can't provide by ourselves. And so that's where the Fire Chiefs Association has really stepped up and done that for the last several years for the county. And so that's what's before you today.
Court, questions?
And they provide the training and stuff, and I know, they do have a training field out on the west side of Athens and stuff, and I was part of the fire department a long time ago. I'd been to the training field, and it's pretty interesting stuff. I don't know, I haven't been out there in a long time on how much training and stuff they do, but, I do know that I think that they're gonna have to relocate it sometime here in the future and stuff, so. But that's what a lot of that money goes for, that we give to that, and I think that the, fire departments have to pay their dues too, just like we have to pay association dues to be a member of the association for our training and stuff, so.
Any further comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve
I'll
with the
second.
judge's authorization to sign.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the the contractor agreement between Henderson County and Henderson County Fire Chiefs Association with the county judge's authorization to sign. Is there any further comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. Item 6, consider and take action on check number 1043 in the amount of $3,953.49 from the City of Coffee City for road patching materials located in Precinct 4. Commissioner.
Yes, Court, this is a check that was a reimbursement check for material and stuff that we use within the city limits of Coffee City. They patch their roads under our interlocal agreement with them, and we're just running this through court to accept this check to get passed so we can deposit it back in our account.
Court, questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept check number 1043 in amount of $3,953.49 from Coffee City.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson and second by Commissioner McCam to accept check number 1043 in the amount of $3,953.49 from the City of Coffee City for road patching materials. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item number 7 is receive financial reports. We have the combined financial reports of our JP districts and county courts. These are available for viewing after court if anyone so wishes. Item 8, consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheet, which we have none. Item 9 is consider and take action on submitted contracts, which we have none. And item 10 is consider and take action on requests for right-of-way permits.
Received 1, 2, and 4.
Commissioner Spivey.
Yes, Court, this permit is one that was passed in this court a while back, but it was for aerial lines, and now they're needing to bore it in the right-of-way on the north side of East Water Road. It's a short distance, 106 feet. Underneath the ground with conduit and new risers on existing poles. It's with Bright Speed.
Court, questions? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the proposed utility line activity with Bright Speed to bore 106 feet to place underground conduit on East Water Road located in Precinct 1 with the Commissioner's authorization to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the right-of-way agreement with Bright Speed to install 106 feet of underground conduit and new risers along East Waller Road with the Commissioner's authorization to sign. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tooley.
All right. You want to take a break? Both of mine are going to be with Bright Speed for fiber optics install. Some of these were going to go aerial, and now they're buried. So here's the list on the first permit. South side of the road on County Road 2530 buried for a total of $19.99. County Road 2531 buried for 11,029 feet. County Road 2830 buried for 2177 feet. County Road 2702 buried for 2177. Esquire Estates Road buried for 7378. Esquire Road buried for 726 feet. The north side of Esquire Road buried for 1522. East of Esquire Road buried for 1,364 feet. Hickory Street buried for 703. The west side of Hickory Street buried for 2774. Am I going too fast, Mary Martin? Southwest of Easy Street buried for 418 feet. Cedar Street buried for 811 feet. Elm Street buried for 1488. Oak Street buried for 1015. North of 2887 buried for 1682. South of 2837 buried for 2286. Bushwhacker 2804 feet. West of Bushwhacker for 1576. North of Summer Lane buried for 648 feet. Fall Lane 897 feet. West of Fall Lane 667 feet. Post Oak Road for 213 feet. Victory Drive buried for 651. North of Victory for 347. Auburn Lane buried for 883. Portsville for 1119. Searles 948. East of Searles 777. West of Searles 773. Bluffview 376. Meandering Way 1382. County Road 2830 for 2622. North of 2830 1893. West of Forest Glen. We need to strike that one. We need to strike that Forest Glen from the record. West of Oak Drive for 1137. East of Oak Drive 423. Lakefront for 865. East Bayside for 914. West of East Bayside 615. Pin Oak Drive for 3,678 feet. Continue with the other one.
Pardon?
You may continue with the other one. Or you want to do them in separate motions?
Let's go ahead and and we'll do this one and then we'll grab the next one. Just given the multitude of roads.
Okay.
Any questions for the commissioner on this right-of-way agreement? Entertain a motion.
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the right-of-way agreement with Brightspeed for the aforementioned roads, removing Forest Glen for a total of buried footage of 937 feet with the commissioner's authorization to sign.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the right-of-way agreement for boring locations along the aforementioned county roads with the county commissioner's authorization to sign. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Next one.
The next one's going to be Sunset Point for 772, Lake Terrace for 540, Cedar Oaks for 1492, west of Cedar Oaks at 1768, Cedar Oaks for 552, Carolyn Road for 3526. I don't know how I missed these. This Fawn Trail's not. We need to strike Carolyn Road and Fawn Trail and Dogwood Loop. I apologize. The next one's gonna be west side of Lakeview Drive for 2006, east of Lakeview for 450, Pebble Beach for 812, west of Pebble Beach 922, County Road 2830 for 33,814, County Road 2830, 814, south of County Road 2830 for 1658, Lynn Creek Cove for 2834, Lynn Creek Cove North 1384, south of Lynn Creek Cove for 658, east of Lynn Creek Cove for 536, east of Crossroad for 268, Cedar View for 1626, Sycamore Circle for 238, Lakeview Boulevard 1498, Maple Street 758, Hickory for 550 feet, Cherry Lane for 418, Cherry Lane North 360 feet, Dogwood Trail for 542, Red Oak for 708, Rocky Point for 772, Tupelo Circle for 554, Hillcrest for 1196, Henderson Lane 1482, north of Henderson Lane 2258, Sundown Trail for 1193, Lake Forest Road for 1206, and south of Lake Forest for 1376.
Keep scrolling.
Sorry. Thought I was done. Oakwood Circle for 574, Tree Line for 612, Lakeside Drive for 1268, west of Lakeside 1078, Creekwood for 858, Ravenwood for 1067, Shady Trail for 771, Mockingbird for 883, Beechwood for 1842, Beechwood for 556, and Quail Run for 208.
Questions?
So these ones that you took out are those private roads?
Yes, sir. Yeah, those two roads are in the Carolyn Estates subdivision.
Dogwood and Pebble Beach as well?
I'm sorry, yes. It'll be Carolyn, Fawn, and Dogwood.
What about Pebble Beach?
Pebble Beach is in the, isn't that in Bonanza Beach?
Maybe, okay. Any other questions of the commissioner? Entertain a motion.
I move we approve the Brightspeed right-of-way for Berry Fiber Optics as the aforementioned roads, striking Carolyn Road, Fawn Trail, and Dogwood Loop with the commissioner's authorization to sign.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the proposed right-of-way agreement with Brightspeed for underground fiber optic cable installation of the aforementioned roads excluding Carolyn Road, Fawn Trail, and Dogwood Loop with Commissioner's authorization to sign. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thanks.
Passes unanimously. Is that all?
That is all in precinct 2.
Wow. You sure?
For now.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes, Court, more stations came to me with a proposed utility line activity for water leak repair in the right-of-way of County Road 4325 at the address of 14541.
Questions for the commissioner? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept proposed utility line activity submitted by Moore Station Water Supply for leak repair within the right-of-way at 14541 County Road 4325 with the Commissioner's authorization to sign.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the right-of-way agreement with Moore Station Water Supply Corporation for leak repair at 14541 County Road 4325 with the Commissioner's authorization to sign. Any further comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item 11, consider and take action on submitted budget amendments. We have none. And item 12 is consider and take action on payment of bills. Ms. Carpenter.
Yes, sir, we have fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $284,833.88.
Commissioner Spivey, questions?
I have no questions, Judge.
Commissioner Tooley.
I have none.
Commissioner McCam.
I had none.
Commissioner Richardson.
No question, Judge.
Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2025 bills in the amount of $284,833.88 as presented.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the 2025 bills in the amount of $284,833.88 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Item 13, consider and take action on submitted plats.
What plat did precinct 3 off each page?
Commissioner.
Yes, I have a final plat for Corner Acres Addition, lots 1 through 3. Little small addition on County Road 3700. They made one track into 3 tracks of .84 acres and .58 acres and .72 acres.
Court, questions?
Hearing none, I move that we accept the final plat of Corner Acres Addition, lots 1 through 3 for filing purposes only.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the final plat of Corner Acres Addition for filing purposes only. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item 14, open and consider bids. We have none. And item 15 is to convene into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 for consultation with attorneys to discuss pending lawsuit with Chill Labs LLC and Cattleman's Bank regarding the Lake Towns at Lake Palestine subdivision located in Precinct 4. We get a motion on time.
I'll make the motion to move into executive session at 10:20.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson to move into executive session at 10:20. Any further comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We will be back. Hearing none, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item 17, consider and take action to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner McCam to adjourn at 11:33. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We now are